Hi everyone, I'm finally back from my hiatus and so much has happened since my last video. So I really posted that video and then it was finals week. So I was obviously really focused on that. Then following finals week was graduation, and I graduated with my Bachelor of Arts degree in Business Admin with a focus in accounting. And then following graduation, I was packing. For those of you who don't know, I moved halfway across the country about a month ago. So I had 2 weeks after graduation to pack all my crap and get ready for the move. And I was working 40 plus hours, so it was pretty much wake up, go to the gym, go to work, and then come home and pack. And since the move, I've just been trying to, get myself situated and find my own little groove here. I'm in America's heartland in the great state of Iowa, and it's been a real adjustment for me. I have never lived outside of the state of Washington before. I'm from the Seattle area, and this is the first time living on my own. And not to mention I moved in with my boyfriend, so it's just you can obviously tell it's a lot of changes at once. But anyways, that's just a little backstory to what I've been up to. So we'll jump into the accounting stuff. So I finally set a date for the FAR exam. It's October 3rd, which is a little bit later than, what I had originally hoped for. I was thinking I was gonna sit for the exam at the end of August, which would allow me to, take another exam before I start work in November. But as I started going through the material, I became extremely overwhelmed. It's honestly a lot to begin with, and then you throw in everything that I just talked about, and this really set me into a panic. I wasn't able to focus while I was studying. I had a lot of distractions with trying to get things for the apartment. I was trying to learn how to cook, and the list goes on. And I really doubted myself and my abilities before I had even given myself a chance. And then on top of all of that, I hadn't even scheduled my exam date yet because I was still waiting to hear back from NASBA. I got an email from NASBA in mid-July, and they told me, we don't have all of your education credentials. You cannot sit for the exam because you are not eligible, and your application is on hold. And that made my anxiety spike beyond where it was at that time, because you have 60 days from the point of your application to get all of the transcripts and all of everything that you need into them. And if they don't receive it by that time, they just throw out everything that they have and your application's gone. And then you also lose a few $100s. So I did send in my transcripts with my original application, which was at the end of June. Now it's nearing the end of July, and they don't have my materials. So I ended up calling them, and the person told me that it was my UW transcript. And the issue was that it didn't have the little title, degree earned. So I had to pay for another transcript to be sent over there and pray that that was actually the main issue. I've attended 3 different schools, so that means I have to send in 3 different transcripts. So it was and from what I can tell, NASBA is completely online. You can contact them via phone or email, but it's not you can just go into a place and talk with a person and have them for sure tell you what you're missing. But luckily that was the only issue, and then probably a week later I got my notice to schedule. So even though I wasn't able to, fit the timeline that I had in my head, I'm totally okay with it, and here's why. Sometimes, or a lot of times, the things that you want to happen are just not in the cards, and you've got to be able to read the signs that life is trying to hint at you. And there were so many things that were pointing to that this is not going to play out how I want it to. First, I'm with RSM, so I have access to FAR CPA Exam materials, so I got that set up at the end of June. I had online access right away, but there was some miscommunication between myself and the Becker rep, so I didn't get my physical book until about mid-July, and so that really made me feel like I was behind already if I wanted to sit for the exam at the end of August. And then shortly after that, the whole NASBA situation happened. Even after all of this craziness, when I received my notice to schedule, I have this crazy thought in my mind, and I'm well, maybe I can take the exam right before the blackout period in September. The blackout period happens every quarter. It's like, I think like the last 3 weeks of the quarter, and no exams can be taken during that time. So I have this 2-day period where I'm just like, should I take it in September or should I wait till the next quarter? But I decided not to, which I'm glad. I'm going back to Washington for 2 weeks to work, but while I'm there I also want to spend time with my family and enjoy being around them, and also be an enjoyable person to be around. And if I have the stress of the CPA exam, I'm not going to be an enjoyable person. And obviously I didn't want to sign up for the exam if I wasn't ready. I don't want to fail and have to reapply and spend hundreds of dollars again for something that, you know, I could have just waited for. And most importantly, I just didn't want to stress myself out more, like for an entire month again, and make my life harder than it has to be. And then also, giving myself a later date means that I can make videos and do stuff like this. So I recently saw this post that said, if you're not happy, don't keep pushing yourself. And that really resonated with me. It's been so hard for me to adjust to living here, and if I have the option to take the exam at a later date that's gonna make my life easier, why wouldn't I choose that option? And obviously I know that there are people out there who disagree with me, and that's completely fine. And I know there's people that think I'm a slacker because I should push myself more, and you know, that's fine to have that opinion too. But all I have to really say about that is it doesn't make us any better to push ourselves to the edge or to exhaustion, and it doesn't make us better than others for choosing to do that. And I think it's just kind of stupid, and quite frankly it's kind of a mental disease. I have been pushing myself so hard for the entire school year, and I guess you could say my entire school career, that I am just honestly burnt out. And I could have picked the September date for my exam, and you know, it probably would have been fine, but I no longer feel like I have to prove myself to anyone. I already know that I am highly capable of doing that, but life is not a sprint, and no one's gonna care if I take 5 weeks or 10 weeks to study for FAR. And not to say that there aren't times when you should push yourself. There's definitely times when you absolutely need to push yourself, but equally there's times where you need to rest and be kind to yourself. We all are just trying to make the best decisions for ourselves. Anyways, thanks for sticking with me. Remember to be kind to yourself and to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I hope you can find some time to enjoy life, and I will see you here next time.